Hi, I'm Dean Clayton, one of the ITOM product managers for OpenText, and I'm here at the Gartner conference with Paul from Redcentric. Nice to meet you, Paul. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, great. So, wanted to have a quick chat with you, if that's all right, just to talk about what you've been doing with the OpenText products, and in particularly what you've done with SMAX.
Yeah.
So, maybe you could give us a bit of details about your company and what you do with our products, with SMAX.
Yeah, so I'm CTO with Redcentric. We're at what I would term a full stack services provider based in the UK, focused on the UK market. So we have a suite of products from data centers, hosting and colo, private clouds, networking, through to managed service, application development, modern workplace. So really quite a broad suite of managed services that we provide to customers, mostly headquartered in the UK, but some multinationals, so we do work internationally as well.
All right. Okay. Cool. And so you obviously have SMAX as one of your products, as your IT service management product. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with SMAX? You know, did you get up and running? Have you come from other products? How's that gone?
Yeah, so we've been a long-term user of the OpenText stack through its evolution over the years. So we were previously on HP Service Manager, which had reached the end of its life. So we obviously did an assessment at the time looking at other products on the market, but felt that SMAX was really the way forward in terms of a modern ITSM that would see us through the next 10 years.
All right. Okay. And have you, with your organization, I believe you've had quite a number of acquisitions and mergers and that kind of thing, and had to bring in other tools or replace other tools?
Yes, so over the last 2.5 years, Redcentric's really been through a huge evolution, and I'm actually part of that myself. So there've been 5 acquisitions over the last 2.5 years. I actually came in from a company called Pixel, so we were the first acquisition back in September 21, and each of the acquisitions brought in its own ITSM, its own ITOM stack, all of which have been consolidated down onto SMAX.
Okay, so I guess that's like been a real benefit, is being able to do that consolidation down to a single solution. Has that made a big difference with your teams?
Completely, in terms of efficiency, and we've been quite aggressive in terms of integrating the companies. So it's not 5 independent operating entities, kind of each doing their own thing. We've combined all the companies, all the operational staff into teams around the technology stacks and the services we're delivering to customers. So it's hugely important that we have the engineers really working out of one ITOM stack, so they're not having to go into 4 or 5 different systems, manage ticket queues in different places. You can imagine the chaos that would ensue if that ticket for that customer's over there, and then another ticket for the same customer because they happen to be using a different service that came from somewhere else that's over there. So very quickly we consolidated down. Some of the ITSMs were end of life, some of the acquisitions were carve out, so we didn't really have any choice other than to get the customers up and running in SMAX in some very short, aggressive timescales in place.
I was going to say, so you, as each of those organizations have come on board, you've obviously had to go through that almost like re-implementation to bring them on board into SMAX. So has that been fair? I don't want to say pain-free, but has that been fairly easy to transition?
It is by this point.
Yeah.
I think, as with any process change, the first one is there was a very bedded in, mature process for the traditional Redcentric business. As the service offerings expanded and we brought in new services, we needed different workflows. Once the first acquisition was in, which was Pixel, that expanded set of workflows has actually worked really well for the subsequent acquisitions, because there weren't a lot of net new services or processes that came in. And the team essentially have got very, very slick at doing the process analysis, the data loading, and the configuration to get teams over from the ITSM that they're used to into SMAX and the central system.
And I guess with that, and obviously the work that they've been doing, you've been looking within obviously SMAX as a product. There's a lot of, should we say, automation and machine learning, AI type capabilities that's within it. I guess that's been quite useful to help with onboarding those, maybe with catalog offerings and how quickly you can get things up and running and assigned out to teams.
Completely. So heavily use the automation and the routing of tickets because it's hugely important in terms of customer satisfaction that we get the right tickets, the right engineer as quickly as we can so they can fix it and get the customer back up and running, be that an incident, be that a service request, managing changes through smoothly. So as a relatively complicated organization for our size, because of the sheer volume of products and the way we've come together, it's hugely important that we use that automation, looking at source CIs, where the customers come from, to get that ticket to the right engineer as quickly as possible.
And I guess if we just kind of spin that in a slightly different way, thinking about being such a complex organization, and obviously having so many customers as well, the whole concept of sustainability must be really important. I think you've got, was it some of the largest data centers in the UK? Is it? Or?
Yeah, so we found ourselves, we're now one of the top 10 data center providers in the UK. With the situation around power, it's, as well as sustainability, it's in our economic interest to get a grip on power, driven a lot by using the CIs at the UCMDB, and that we've done quite a lot of work around that whole flow of how we associate effectively power to customer to enable customers to see what they're doing. Because as a service provider, we only really have control of 30-40% of what happens on our kind of service provider backplane. A lot of our consumption, a lot of our ESG is actually driven by customers, how they're using their servers, what their efficiency is. So actually, leveraging what we've got from the OpenText stack to make that data visible to customers has been key over the last 12, 18 months.
And it also helps your customers then with their sustainability goals.
Absolutely, because customers are coming to us, everyone's got much more stringent ESG requirements. As their service provider, they're coming to us to provide them the data and some of the thought leadership over how to best, up their own ESG scores.
All right, that's good. Okay, so I get almost the final question, should we say? What about the future? Where's next for Redcentric? Have you any particular areas that you're looking into? Maybe generative AI, for instance?
With everyone else, it's AI and more AI. We're already heavily using it in certain places, internal knowledge bases, marketing, sales, document writing. We built an internal test bed. As anyone who's following this closely knows, everything you build is out of date by the next week. So we're heavily involved and have a team looking at it. A lot of the Microsoft technologies. But yeah, the next step really is looking at how we leverage it within our SMAX infrastructure to surface the knowledge we've got embedded.
With our Aviator, certainly, if we just take some of the starting points of what's available already today, you'll be able to embed them in. You'll obviously be able to do that whole reducing the amount of effort on your service desk and your first line support, and be able to move forward with your customers and hopefully reduce the workload to work on more complex topics for your customers and everything they do.
Yes.
All right.
Team are looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, really good. All right. Well, thank you, Paul. It's good to meet you. Hope you enjoy the conference. And with that, we'll sign off today, and thank you, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.